Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are brand new. Today I will be showing you guys how to crochet this Christmas coaster. I love crocheting. This coaster shouldn't take you more than 10 to 20 minutes to make. If you want to learn how to make this Christmas coaster, then keep watching this video. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me, and comment below if there's any other projects that you guys want to see from me. Thanks! Alright you guys, today for this project you will need any kind of yarn that you want to use. This is by, I love this yarn. I found this at Hobby Lobby and I just loved the Christmas color vibe of it. I wanted to make some Christmas coasters for my apartment. You will also need a crochet hook. For this I am using a 4.5. I am also going to be using a thread needle. I also found these at Hobby Lobby, and today I will be using these to kind of be the back of the coasters. To start this project out, you're going to loop around and just make a simple knot. So I'm going to pull it through. So now I'm going to chain 3 more. And a chain simply just wrapping it around, pulling it through this loop. So now I have a chain of 4, and then I'm gonna go through this first chain, this top loop, and I'm gonna do a slip stitch. So I'm gonna pull yarn through, and then I'm just gonna pull it through again. I'm going to chain 2, so I'm just going to wrap around and pull through. And then I'm going to do 11 double crochets into this hole here. A double crochet I'm going to wrap around. I'm going to go through this center hole. I'm going to grab my yarn, pull through. Now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm gonna wrap around, pull through 2, and then wrap around, pull through 2. It's my first double crochet, so I'm gonna do 11 of those. We'll do another one together. I'm gonna wrap around, go through this center, grab my yarn, pull it through. I have 3 loops on my hook, wrap around, pull through 2, wrap around, pull through 2. Alright, and this chain 2 that we did, that's technically 1 double crochet. When we chain 2, we're adding on to another row, but that's part of our row. So we're going to end with 12 double crochets, including this chain 2. So then there's going to be 2 stitches here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, I want to grab the second stitch, go under the whole stitch, so the whole V, and do a slip stitch. So I'm going to pull my yarn through, I'm going to pull it through again. So this is the beginning of our coaster. That's our first row. So now for the second row, I'm going to chain 2, so 1, 2. I'm going to do 2 double crochets into each stitch. So I'm going to start with where I put this chain 2. So right here, this very first stitch here, I'm going to do another double crochet. I'm going to go to my next stitch and I'm going to do 2 double crochets. So that's 1 and then 2 into the same stitch. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to do the last one with you guys. So I'm on my last 2 double crochets. So I want to wrap around, go through that stitch, pull through 2, pull through 2, go in again, do another double crochet, And then I have my 2 loops here from my last 2 chain, and I'm gonna go through this second stitch, and sometimes it can be a little hard to get through, so I like to go kind of one at a time. So I picked up 1 loop, and then I'm gonna pick up the second one because I only want the 2 loops for that stitch on my hook. I'm gonna pull through. That can also be a little difficult, so just be patient. Pull through and do another slip stitch. Now row 3 is going to be chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to do 2 double crochets into the first stitch, 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and it's going to be 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet. So I will show you what I mean. So out of this first stitch where I put my chain 2, I'm going to go back through because I want 2 double crochet into this first stitch. I'm going to do 1 double crochet into this next stitch. Now I'm only going to do the 1, and then I'm going to skip to the next stitch, and I'm going to do 2 double crochet into this stitch. 1, and 2. So I have 1 here, so I want to do 2 in here. This is my second to last stitch on this row, and then my last stitch is just 1 double crochet into this last stitch. So you should end with 1 double crochet in the last stitch. So I have that second stitch, and I'm just going to do a slip stitch again, and it might be a little hard. Take your time, be patient with yourself. So that's going to be row 3. We're going to be on round 4 now. So I'm going to chain 2, and now this one we're going to do 2 double crochet in the first stitch, 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 double crochet in that 4th stitch. And I'll show you what I mean. So in this first stitch, I'm going to go back into that stitch, and we're going to do a double crochet. So that's going to be 2. We have our chain 2, our double crochet. Now we're going to go to the next stitch, and we're just going to do 1 double crochet into this next stitch. We're going to go to the next stitch. We're going to do 1 double crochet into the next stitch. We're going to go to the next stitch, and we're going to do 2 double crochet into the next stitch. So 1, 2. We're going to go into the next stitch. We're going to do 1 double crochet. We're going to do 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then we're going to do 2 double crochet into the next stitch. So I'm going to go 1, 2. So I just finished with a single double crochet into this stitch. Now I'm going to do 2 double crochet into the 3rd to last stitch of this row. I'm going to do a single crochet or a single double crochet into that next stitch, and in the next stitch I'm going to do 1 double crochet. So then I'm going to find my chain 2. I'm going to go into that second chain or that second stitch, go into that second stitch, and we're going to do a slip stitch. So that is the end of round 4. Alright you guys, so we are in our last final row. This will be row 5. So we have our slip stitch that we ended with row 4. We're going to chain 2. We're going to do 2 double crochets into the first stitch, and then in the next 3 stitches we're just going to do 1 double crochet, and then the next stitch we'll do 2 double crochet, and we'll go on and off. So in this first stitch I'm going to go back in where I put my slip stitch and do a double crochet and do 1 double crochet into my next stitch, move on to my next stitch, do 1 double crochet in that stitch, and then the third stitch we're going to do 1 double crochet. Now the next one we're going to do 2 double crochet into the same stitch. And now my next 3 stitches will be 1 double crochet into each stitch. The pattern will be in the description box below, so if you want to learn how to read a pattern as you follow the video, or reading a written pattern is easier for you, then it will be down there. Alright, so I'm at my last 4 stitches for this row, so I'm going to do 2 double crochet into the 4th stitch from the end, and then I'm going to do 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and end with 1 double crochet in the next stitch. And we want to go to the second stitch from the chain 2 we created and do a slip stitch, just like with every other row. So pull through and then pull through. So this is how it will look. And then I always forget the scissors. You will take your scissors, cut just a little tail off, and then to finish it off and fasten it off, you will wrap it around and just pull the whole tail through. And that is your coaster. So now you want to weave in your ends. And now I'm not going to claim to be a queen at weaving in ends, but I've never had a problem with my ends ever coming out. So what I usually do is I just kind of pick some random stitches and just at least kind of weave it in and out of 3 to 4 stitches. So I'll go through 1 stitch, I'll skip over the next stitch and go into the next one, just kind of around the beginning. And like I said, as long as you weave it in some type of way 3 or 4 times, then it should be good and you shouldn't have a problem with it. So then I'll take it and cut it as close as I can to where I left off. And now you can do one of 2 things. You can leave it like this as your coaster and you don't have to put a backing onto it. You could leave it like this. But I am going to put it onto this backing, which it's just a tiny bit bigger, but that's okay if it hangs over. We're gonna sew it onto this with some yarn. I'm going to grab some yarn, and you will want to cut it off. I'm gonna give myself enough yarn to make sure I can get around the whole thing. Just kind of go off of your preference. And I'm just going to tie a double knot into my yarn and try and just like get it as close as you can of overlapping. I'm just gonna do a double knot like this, and then I'm gonna go to my other end and I'm gonna put this onto my needle, pull it down a little bit, and I'm gonna pick up my coaster and I'm just gonna try and line it up the best that I can. And I'm gonna go into this first hole and I'm just gonna pull my yarn all the way through. And the reason that we did that knot is so that will stay just like that. So now all you really want to do is just sew the backing on. And you can go into every single hole, you could go into every other. I am going to do every other. But it's really personal preference at this point. You can do every single hole like I said. You could do every other one. And just make sure that you pull it all the way through. And then try and line it up. It looks like mine's kind of falling right below where this top stitch is. So I'm just gonna keep going and sew this on. All right, so I'm coming up right at the end. And the only thing that you want to make sure is that your last kind of stitch for sewing it around, you want to end up in the back like this. So now I'm just going to cut this off. And what you can do with this is you don't have to throw away your extra yarn from when you were sewing your piece on. You can hold on to this so you can use it for your next coaster. Just a little tip that I have. I'm just kind of gonna tie these two together. Gonna grab my needle, put one of my strings through it. I'm just gonna pick up a few loops, pull it through. I'm gonna skip 2 squares and just pull it through another like 3 squares. Pull it all the way through and cut off the extra. At the end, you will have this super cute winter coaster. And it's got the backing on it, and there you go.